on the prohibition of evoking the dead, historical context, prudence, and the maturation of consciousness. The prohibition of evoking the dead, present in various religious traditions, emerged in a historical context marked by fear of the unknown and the absence of criteria to understand spiritual phenomena. For centuries, any attempt to communicate with the beyond was associated with dangerous, superstitious practices or those deemed morally reprehensible. Spiritism analyzes this prohibition in light of reason, historical context, and the progress of human knowledge. In ancient times, the evocation of the dead was often linked to mystical rituals, material interests, emotional manipulation, and the exploitation of popular credulity. Without ethical criteria, method, or understanding of the nature of consciousness, these practices generated confusion, fear, and abuses. The prohibition, therefore, initially had a preventive and educational character, seeking to protect society from unbalanced practices. Modern depth psychology helps to understand this care. Fragile emotional states, intense mourning, and rigid beliefs can make an individual highly suggestible. Under such conditions, practices without rational guidance can reinforce illusions, emotional dependencies, and psychological suffering. The prohibition acted as an external limit during a phase of collective immaturity. Spiritism does not deny these risks, but proposes a fundamental change. It is not the communication itself that is dangerous, but the way it is conducted. Allan Kardec introduces method, criteria, and moral purpose when studying spiritual phenomena. Evocation ceases to be ritualistic or superstitious and is instead investigated with seriousness, balance, and responsibility. Modern science reinforces this methodological approach. Complex phenomena can only be understood when observed with criteria, repetition, analysis, and control of variables. Spiritism applies these principles to the study of consciousness, distancing itself from sensationalism and prioritizing clarification and moral learning. Another essential point is intention. Spiritism teaches that evocations motivated by frivolous curiosity, material interest, or a desire for spectacle tend to attract equally unbalanced spirits. In contrast, approaches based on respect, moral elevation, and a sincere desire for clarification create safer and more educational conditions. The absolute prohibition, therefore, loses its meaning as humanity matures. Just like other areas of knowledge that were once forbidden out of fear, contact with the spiritual reality begins to require responsibility, discernment, and inner preparation. Progress does not occur through the denial of the phenomenon, but through the understanding of its laws. Spiritism does not encourage indiscriminate evocation, but it also does not condemn it dogmatically. It advises prudence, study, and a high purpose. True protection lies not in blind prohibition, but in the clarification of consciousness. Understanding this issue frees spiritual thought from fear and leads it to maturity. Dialogue with the invisible, when conducted with ethics, respect, and clarity, ceases to be a threat and becomes a tool for learning about one's own life and the continuity of consciousness. If this reflection has helped you better understand the historical and rational meaning of the prohibition against summoning the dead, please like, share, and leave your comment. Your participation helps this message reach more people.